let us all do we can to build a better future.
One of my real interests, as you know, is worker rights in this country, and more specifically, the rights of workers to have private lives and the rights of workers to be paid for the hours that they work or in which what they spend improving themselves or educating themselves for their employers. And this is one of the more bizarre stories that I've encountered. Now, I've heard about this sort of thing happening before, and we'll talk about that later. But there is a lawsuit has been filed against Panda Express. Panda Express, of course, is that Chinese fast food chain that you will find in food courts, airports, shopping malls, that sort of thing.
Or a prime Colt Lake location.
Oh, clearly. Apparently, this worker, 23 years old, was informed by her supervisor that if she wanted to move up in the company, she was going to have to take a self-improvement training. And curiously, this self-improvement training was going to require her to do this on her own time and to pay for the self-improvement training. I would point out also that this worker is currently making $11.35 an hour.
That seems like enough to spend a number of hours with. Oh, wait, no.
She was less than 3 years into her job in Santa Clarita, California. California is a very expensive place to be living in, but she went ahead and took this training. Now, this training, which appears to be based on, it's called the Live Seminars and Coaching Academy. It appears to be based on the large group awareness trainings that have been going on in this country probably since the 60s. And these are usually high. In fact, if any of you ever saw the movie Semi-Tough with Burt Reynolds, Jill Clayburgh, and Chris Christopherson, you know what I'm talking about. These were very large, high-pressure meetings where there's a lot of group pressure. People's boundaries are attacked. They are often verbally abused. And the idea is behind these programs is that you get broken down, you conform to the group, you have some kind of a catharsis, and you think that something positive happened to you. Well, it sounded like that was what was going on here. She described a situation where everybody, their cell phones were taken away from them. They were put into a room that had no clocks, black drapes all over all the windows. They were required to sit there, or told to sit there and wait. A man came in, about an hour later, came in screaming in Spanish at all of them for sitting there and doing nothing, which is, of course, exactly what they were told to do, and then proceeded to tell them that they were nothing and a bunch of losers. At various times during this training, individuals were vomiting, and they were not. If they had to vomit, they were either escorted to a bathroom by somebody who worked for the seminar, or they were told to vomit in a small can in front of everybody else. Now, this, of course, begs the question: what the hell is going on that there is mass vomiting at a self-improvement seminar? And according to this, the young woman who is pushing forward with her claim, in her case, she was asked to strip down to her underwear.
Okay, this is crossing a lot of lines.
Yeah, and was gawked by members of the seminar. And then at one point, another young man was asked to strip down to his underwear, and they were supposed to reveal things about themselves. When the man found himself, people were not believing him. He was being harassed. He broke down, and then she was told, while still stripped down in her underwear, to go and hug it out with this young man who was in his underwear.
Okay.
Panda
Express has just lost my business. There, controversial.
Yeah.
This really sounds like someone saw Full Metal Jacket and I'm going to do that.
No, this is also very standard, and people don't realize just how common this stuff is. And so, but Panda Express is saying, well, we have no association with this.
Oh, okay.
But the lawsuit is asserting that the employees at the seminar received materials with the fast food chain's logo, and they were required to provide their company ID numbers.
Yeah, okay. That sounds like
so. Then saying that they don't know, no.
This is, I mean, we can laugh about this, but this is very serious.
No, I'm not laughing about it. I'm angry.
How many people have suffered through this? Large group awareness trainings work in that you get people to pay a lot of money up front. Once you invest in something, you don't want to admit that you got taken. And so they play on that. They play on the group experience. It puts the group pressure. You face ostracism. We are social creatures. People don't realize just how social we actually are, how dependent we are. I'm going to give you an example of this, and this was actually at a much smaller level with a bunch of adults that had a lot more power than these Panda Express workers. I was once in the mid-90s invited to the home of somebody who was a part of a one of these kind of like encounter groups. I was by far and away the youngest person there. I went to this home. It was a very nice home in an affluent area. And the people who owned the home, they were just part of the group. There were group leaders there, and we were discussing what the group was going to do that evening. And it was proposed that we all strip down naked, sit in front of a mirror, and talk about our bodies to each other. I objected to this on the grounds that I didn't need anybody seeing me naked, and when it really came down to it, there was nobody's floppy bits that I wanted to see on that particular occasion. And this caused all kinds of drama. The leader of the group said, well, we're here to push our boundaries. Well, I'm delighted for you, but I'm not going to do this. And then the other leader said, well, I'll be happy to drive you wherever you want to go so you don't have to be here. Okay, that's fine with me. Eventually, they decided that they were not going to do that exercise that evening, and that in the future, attendees would be warned that they may have to take their clothes off.
Just something you do.
Now,
okay.
This is in a group of maybe about 8 people, okay? And I knew several of the people there. After the occasion, we went into the kitchen for snacks, and I was approached by multiple people, including the homeowners, by saying thank you for setting a boundary, and thank you for doing that. It took a lot of bravery. We feel a little uncomfortable too, so thank you for doing that. These are the homeowners, affluent homeowners who couldn't stand up
Oh my God.
to outsiders in their home trying to do this. So if you think for 2 seconds that it's going to be easy for a Panda Express worker who is making not a living wage, who is really wanting to move forward in the company, who has already invested time and money that this person probably does not have, and you think it's going to be easy for them to stand up against this sort of thing, it's not the way it works. I've seen it firsthand with people who had a lot more power.
Okay. So, sorry, I just want to say a couple of things. Okay, number one, Panda Express is playing ignorant when the fact that, again, these employees had to bring in their company IDs and prove they worked at Panda Express. So someone somewhere, maybe not high echelon Panda Express, but someone knew what was going on. Don't play stupid. Number two, to anyone that's watching, you don't owe your company jack. Not this much of blind loyalty. And I know times are tough for a lot of people and everyone needs to get income, but there are limitations. Remember, you are a person, you are a human being. I always say at the end of my Rockfin show, don't take crap from anybody. However, I'm just giving you the censored version. Don't take crap from anybody. And, you know, when it comes down to stuff like this, these people do deserve justice. And then also, again, the only time I've ever in my life dealt with anything like this where someone's yelling down at me was when I was in the Marine Corps at boot camp. However, again, in boot camp, Army boot camp, a few other places, there are rules and regulations of how far those drill instructors, drill sergeants can go. And this right here, there's no limitations. These people are abusing their power towards these workers, and no one deserves to go through this. Panda Express, you've lost my business. I'm never going to eat there again. And if I'm starving, well, it looks like I'm going to starve, but I'll find some food.
Some bamboo shirts, just like Pandas eat.
You know what? Okay, there we go. See there, Panda
If I ever
Express.
go to Panda again, I'm just going to ask, did you have to do... I mean, how do you even respond to this? This isn't a secret society event. This isn't a, like, I don't know, some weird high end, like, oh, you want to be in the like executive league now. You have to go through. It's not a hazing ritual. This is like to be a manager at a fast food restaurant. that doesn't care about you anyway. How far have we fallen as a society when we are simultaneously like, I can't pay my workers $15 an hour, but I can force them into places where they have to strip to get a promotion. There's some imbalance here.
I have to pay.
Yes.
For the opportunity and not get the time off, pay time off.
You have to pay for the opportunity to have to strip in front of a bunch of people to maybe get a promotion.
But this sort of thing's been happening. It's also in the context of several things. First of all, many companies have been using so-called personality tests and requiring employees to participate in personality tests. And again, many of these tests are not psychometrically valid. That means that there has not been an independent review to determine whether these tests are even effective at determining personality. But by gosh, these businesses have been suckered in to offering these tests. And in some cases, you're required to take these tests in the presence of your coworkers, who now may have information about you and your vulnerabilities. And we know that workplace bullying is a huge problem in this country. And imagine what material that you get from one of these large group awareness trainings or one of these personality tests. Bullies can take that information and use it against you.
Yep.
And shockingly, I've never heard of a situation in which an employee is given the personality test results for his or her superiors. That might actually be useful. If you're working for a narcissist or a bully or something like that. The other thing I want to point out, this is happening at a time where the lines between workplace and home and private space and private time have been completely blurred by the global health crisis. People are working from home. They are expected to be available at times when they were never expected to be available before. And these blurred lines are happening within the workforce right now. This is an extreme example of a particular group of people who were really very, very vulnerable. But this is indicative of how a workplace can manipulate a worker's sense of time and boundaries, and making that worker taking that worker into the Borg, and making it very difficult for them to set boundaries. And this is an extreme example, but it is happening, and I have to wonder how long this has been going on.
So there are a couple of things. I want to acknowledge a live stream message from Monarch. I never understand what was so special about Panda Express. Why not just go to an actual Chinese food restaurant instead? Like the Phoenix.
That's a good place.
Yeah, again, we're not sponsored by them, folks. But
I wish we were.
I know.
A single family-owned place in Chinatown, Chicago. Wonderful.
Really good stuff. And then number two, I just want to tell a quick story when I was in college. Okay, this was after my service in the Marine Corps. This was before I worked at Costco and before Hardlands Media. I was working at a summer job, and this one manager wanted me to climb up a ladder that was very, 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 very rickety, and I said no. And he was like, "Well, if you don't do this," and I was like, "Well, you climb up it first." And so he was going to, and then the ladder fell apart. And I said, "I told you." You don't owe these managers or bosses anything, folks. Know your worth. I know times are tough. But damn it, if we don't start stepping up for ourselves now, they're going to keep on walking over us. And this action right here that Panda Express did is wrong. Panda Express, don't pretend to be stupid. You knew what was going on.
But I'm going to say, okay, the reason why people go to Panda Express is because they're in the airport.
Yeah.
And that's their option. That's their only option there. And I'm also going to point this, why do people work at Panda Express? Well, they work it because that's their option. That's their job option. There may be limited options, and it may be that the mall or the airport in your area is the primary employer. It's just again, this is so bizarre. We laugh at it, but this is disheartening. It is heartbreaking. Just the reports, the local news reported on this, the fact that people were routinely vomiting.
Why were they vomiting?
They were apparently stressed.
That'll do it to you. Stress,
like people were
stress,
pointing out, if we have a team meeting here at Hardlands Media, I don't think anybody pukes until really late in the evening after we've had several pitchers of beer. And that usually is in your own home. The point is, it is not normal.
At Hardlands Media, we only force people to puke if they want to.
Exactly. But these people were vomiting, and it's just like, something is very seriously wrong. And this is how our low-wage workers are being treated in the United States.